Today, we're taking a look at some videos where women deeply regret their divorce, but only when it's too late. Let's see how these stories unfold.
Hi world, it's my first TikTok, and I have a really pressing question. I had been divorced for a couple of years after 33 years of marriage, and here's what I gotta know. Does it get easier? Because it's starting to feel like the whole purpose of dating is to go out with strange men to endure really awful things in order to come home and create crazy TikTok stories. I mean, somebody tell me there's more to this than that.
Just finishing talking to Marcus and
Step out.
So I am newly separated, and it is not easy.
It never gets easier because a lot of things change.
Usually on this day, the 3rd, we would have a party, people over, but my life is very much entwined with his because I'm a transplant where we live, so...
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I've basically been exiled. It's not funny. It's kind of sad, but this is hard. I'm doing okay, and I'm trying to, just be okay with it, and I know it's the right thing, but...
It's never the right thing. The right thing is trying to work it out.
I'm sure there's other people that can relate, and if you're out there,
We? Who's we? There is no we.
Just give me advice. I would appreciate it.
You serious?
So the guy I've been dating for 8 months just came over and broke up with me. When I met him in March, I came back to life. I got my confidence back. I played, I laughed. The hardest thing for me is that he just committed 3 weeks ago.
What?
This is the worst thing about leaving marriage and dating, because in dating, people aren't serious.
He's been gone for a week now, and I still can't sleep. It's not even midnight, and it doesn't matter what time I go to bed. I can't sleep for more than 2 hours.
Damn!
Maybe 2.5. And it's midnight, and I am wide awake.
This is the bitter reality only a few would admit.
I'm just not strong enough to fight this one by myself. I don't know what to do. I was doing so good. And today, I just feel crushed.
To be quite honest, I feel bad for her. He's living his best life now. Lesson: if you don't want a divorce, don't ask for one.
Biggest regret post-divorce. If I could go back knowing what I know now, I would never have downloaded a dating app or ever gotten on one. People will get on dating apps and spend massive amounts of time chatting, talking, and texting, basically just to do a job interview, only to find out you don't have chemistry and you wasted hours, months, and weeks getting to know someone. People don't really know how to set the correct boundaries on that, and that's a whole nother lesson.
They realize that after divorce, time isn't on their side anymore because it feels like a race.
Because they are not in your friend group, your church group, any kind of social group. So you can't even have that filter of knowing anything about their background, and they'll quickly ghost you.
I'm a single mom of a 2.5-year-old. I've been split up from my ex for about 10 months now. I still get hit hard sometimes with the grief and the loneliness of it all.
Okay.
Some women, sadly, think that drama is necessary and divorce is the only option left, when later they regret it, like this lady here.
I took him to the park, and then another family comes, and it's a mom, a dad, and a son his age. And they're all three playing together, and the kid says something funny, and they both laugh.
When thinking about it from our point of view, it's creepy that she's watching them as they have their quality time. What do you guys think?
And look at each other and talk about it. And I literally had to leave the park because I started sobbing.
What?
Because I grieve that life.
There is no going back to that life. unfortunately.
So hard. You can have all the support in the world. You can have the best parents, the best family, but nothing replaces that relationship you have with a spouse. And sometimes it just feels so overwhelming that it still feels so heavy. And that the guilt still eats away at me, even though I know it was the right decision. Just the guilt that I can't give my son, like, that life.
Sadly, that is the worst outcome, because that won't only affect her, it will deeply affect her kid also.
Been dating someone pretty intensely for the last 6 weeks, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. It was full. We were full of conversation and laughter and friendship and all these wonderful things. But for various reasons, we're just at different life stages and doesn't necessarily have a long-term compatibility.
Oh, brother!
So I know it was the right decision.
If it was the right decision, why are you looking upset?
For us to end it. But I'm also sad because it was really fun and I don't want that to stop. But it's also annoying that didn't work out and I have to go back to dating because it's really hard.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
How are we supposed to balance everything? I am drowning. I wake up in the morning, I pack my kids' lunches, I drive them to school, I have to rush back so I can make it to my first meeting. My boss tells me that I'm not engaged enough on Zoom, so I have to try harder there. I spend all day doing my job where I don't even leave my desk chair. My house is falling apart.
This is the pure example of actions having consequences.
I don't even have time to take my dogs outside during the day, and somehow I'm also supposed to be working out, cooking dinner at night, eating right, helping them with homework. I spend my lunch break picking them up from school, and I don't even get 5 minutes to myself during the day. Not even enough. Like, I'm not doing anything 100%.
A perfect example of why not to risk your future. It's crazy how people can't just keep their private life private.
I am absolutely sorry. If there's anything on my part that I've done, maybe I've not made you feel like a man, maybe I haven't loved you enough, maybe I've neglected some things that I can't think of. Tunji, I'm sorry because you know I tried everything, you know I love you so much, and I'm sorry. I never wanted to divorce. I never wanted to come to this, and I'm just really sorry, and I want him to get better. And I'm not saying this for the camera, but I'll always pray for him.
At least we can appreciate the fact that she came clean and apologized. That takes a lot of accountability.
I wasn't looking to be alone at 48. I didn't get married to get divorced. I tried so much. Like, I can't imagine being with anyone else. I mean, I can, but...
Starting over from scratch all over again is not something everyone can do.
It could just be a fantasy because I'm really good at limerence. I'm really good at living in the positive. The what could be's. Oh no.
This is what they should see before considering a divorce.
Nobody prepares you for what it's like to date after 50 when you've been married for a really long time. How can you be prepared for this? I have been single for 14 months, and in all transparency, I have done very little dating, very little. Initially, I tried dating apps. I wanted to see if I could put myself out there again. I was lonely. I was looking for some companionship, and I turned to the apps. Well, that's a whole other video. One thing I hear from so many people my age is the older you get, the more difficult dating becomes because the less willing you are to compromise on things. Do you guys agree?
Around that time, all standards dropped.
The marriage was not good. I know that. He was not good for me. He wasn't never gonna be what I needed him to be. And you know, so it's good that it's happening, but it's still very sad.
I get asked a lot, what was one of your biggest failures in your own divorce that you wish other people would know? And it's very easy. I spent months, and I mean months, worrying about saying the words, I want a divorce. I worried how he was going to take it. I worried how he was going to feel. I was worried about his reaction, his immediate reaction only. And I worked so hard at having the courage to say, I want a divorce. We need to separate. I spent so much time and energy on that.
Instead of spending time and energy to fix it.
What I did not spend a lot of time and energy on was preparing myself for what was going to happen the next day and the next day and the next day. I did not think past that moment. I said those words without being prepared. I said those words without being educated. I said those words without having a plan B through Z. I only thought about just saying the words, and that's it.
That's when true regret comes, when you go into a territory that is unknown.
This is really interesting, and you can tell me if this has happened to you, but when we were going through the divorce, he had already moved on. He had moved this person into his home, which had been my previous home. And I guess she just didn't even care because she was like, hey, man, she lost, I won. I'm going to take all her stuff and I'm going to live here, whatever, who knows. But he would not sign the divorce papers. I had to beg him time after time, you need to sign the divorce papers. And, clearly you've moved on. I remember one time I was walking in the grocery store and I was on the phone with him and I was like, you need to sign the divorce papers. And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, why not? You've already moved on, whatever. He's like, I'm just not going to do it. And I think that was still his method of controlling.
She's the one talking about trying to make him do something. And she calls his refusal controlling.
Me. Controlling the situation. And also, even though he didn't want me, he didn't want anybody else to have me, just in case he wanted to pop back on in if that other thing didn't work out. So, I had an awful time trying to get this guy to sign divorce papers. And eventually he did, and, we've all moved on.
I hope he found better.
Hi, I just have a quick question for those of you who are divorced recently or, otherwise. Do you spend every minute worried that your kids are gonna, move out and go to college and then you're gonna be alone and you're gonna either just struggle until you die or you'll just be so depressed that do you know, is that just me? Because I can't, dating is so bad. It's so bad. And I don't want to single myself out as extremely special, but not only do I have to do all the other dating stuff.
We men are never lonely. Maybe alone, but never lonely. And there is a difference between these two words.
I don't know about you, but I do know that it's not an easy sell. And I know you're going to say the right guy is out there and he's going to love you for who you are. But has anyone ever met that man?
Yes, that man is everywhere. You just don't want to see it.
In the existence of the world? Not so sure.
They move on very quickly after the breakup. There's a few things you need to understand. A lot of times it's not because they're happy. It's not because they're winning. It's not because they're doing amazing. A lot of times it's because they're hurt too. They don't know how to handle their own emotions, and they need to find somebody to give them the verification, the validation, and the attention that they're used to in the old relationship. And a lot of times when they break up with you, you're begging for them. You're fixated on them. You're obsessed with them. So they want to keep that high going. And when they move on, they automatically feel like they're winning because they're with somebody and you're not.
So once they get sad, they take it out on their marriages, unfortunately.
And this hurts a lot for you because you see this person moving on and happy. So not only are you dealing with the rejection of the relationship itself from the breakup, but you're also seeing them move on and have another option. So it's a double whammy, which really puts you in a position to be even more desperate and to reach out to them and to try to make these assumptions in your head that this person is actually better than you. But the reality is, a lot of times it's because they don't know how to deal with it.
But taking it out on their marriages is never okay. Because once you divorce, there is no going back.
A lot of times it's because they're filling the void with another person. And the sad reality is it will wear off and they will probably not work out with this person. And the problems will arise after the honeymoon phase. And there will be moments of vulnerability where they feel extreme sadness, extreme depression. And you just have to kind of wait until they get to that stage so that you can really hear from them. And at that point, you should be better.
Never take them back if they left you during your worst. Well, guys, that was all for today. We'll be back soon.